I left the street with its silver rain, folded the day in my coat. A small table held an amber flame, a quiet place to float. The piano breathed from somewhere low. The glasses barely shone. I sat beside my shadow there, and did not feel alone. No one asked what I was carrying. No one called my name. The first glass caught the lantern light and turned it into flame. I let the hour loosen slowly what the daylight had made tight. My hands forgot their hurry in the velvet of the night. The night begins before a word is spoken, before the heart explains. It opens like a soft blue curtain over all that still remains. No promise, no confession, only piano, breath, and glow. The night begins before a word is spoken, and somehow it already knows. I did not come to name the sorrow, I did not come to disappear. I only came to borrow one quiet hour here. Let the bass line keep me steady, let the brushes pass like rain. If morning finds me ready, I may give the day its name. The night begins before a word is spoken, before the lights grow low. It gathers every tired silence that I never had to show. No answer, no forgiveness, only music moving slow. The night begins before a word is spoken, and somehow it already knows. An amber light falls on the chair, soft over velvet, quiet and slow. The table keeps a trace of air from someone here not long ago. The piano leaves a low chord there and lets the silence breathe. I do not ask who used to sit, I let the room believe. The window gathers silver rain, the glass holds back the night. A brush moves softly on the snare, like footsteps made of light. No name is spoken in this room, no memory forced to stay. Only a warmth that lingers on, too gentle to send away. The empty chair is still a little warm, held by the lantern light. I do not call a name into the calm, I only sit beside the night. A silent glass, a softened chord, the rain behind the door. The empty chair is still a little warm, and I need nothing more. The hour leans against the seat, like a coat across the rail. The bass walks slowly through the room, a dark and tender trail. No one arrives, no one leaves, the shadows learn to mend. Some kinds of silence stay with us, like a quiet friend. If part of me had stepped away, the chair kept its quiet space. The piano knows what not to say and leaves the room in grace. The empty chair is still a little warm, held by the lantern light. I do not call a name into the calm, I only share the night. A silent glass, a softened chord, the rain behind the door. The empty chair is still a little warm, still a little warm. Lantern chair rain, a glass holding the light, still a little warm. kept it folded in my coat. A quiet weight that walked with me. The piano finds a lower note. Beside an amber glass. It never asked to have a name. It never asked to disappear. It only moved from day to day, and somehow followed me here. I never pushed the thought away. It crossed the rain with me, a shadow under ordinary days, a hum beneath the melody. It did not break the morning light. It did not call me back. It only stayed where silence stays, softly dressed in black. What I carry quietly is breathing in this room. It asks no ending, asks no song, only the lanterns glow. The piano knows the shape of what I never showed. What I carried quietly has found a place to rest. Tonight the pocket opens slow. The folded year comes loose. A name I never learned to say sits down inside the blue. The amber light does not ask why. The window keeps the rain. I let the old unspoken thing sit near me once again. Not to keep, not to let go, only let it stay. The brushes move across the snare and carry time away. Some stories do not need a word. Some questions need no end. They find a quiet near the chair and learn to sit again. What I carried quietly is resting in this room. It asks no ending, asks no song, only the lanterns glow. The silence holds the shape of what I never showed. What I carried quietly sits beside me, warm and slow. A coat, a pocket, a folded year, a name unsaid, still here. A circle of amber falls on wood. where evening shadows come to rest. Before I knew what silence could, it took the chair and became my guest. The glass gives back a quiet flame. The piano breathes below. No one has to call my name. I let the hour go. One small reflection in the glass, rain moving down the pane. The velvet hush begins to pass through every softened frame. I do not ask the room for more. I only let it be. Under the amber table light, the night sits down with me. Rain on glass, piano low. The room learns how to rest. The ice begins to settle in the glass and bends the amber light across the wood. Within the clear reflection, still and slow, an old familiar name began to glow. The window keeps a rhythm with the rain. Deep blue velvet gathers round the chair. I used to turn away from what remained, but tonight I let it linger in the air. A glass remembered your name tonight, without a heavy breath, without a sigh. It only moved in amber as steady as the midnight passing by. A gentle silence breathing in the room, a quiet shape I do not need to claim. A glass remembered your name tonight, and softly held the flame. The piano does not ask me to explain. It only leaves a slow and steady chord. The shadows lose their edges in the rain, and what was old returns without a word. I do not reach to call it back. I do not turn away. I let the name remain like light inside the glass tonight. A glass remembered your name tonight, without a heavy breath, without a sigh. It only moved in amber lantern light, as steady as the midnight passing by. A name reflected in the glass, an amber room, a quiet flame. A glass remembered your name tonight, and let it fade again. Glass, amber, rain, a name I did not call, still there. A lower key is softly pressed, as if it knew where I had been. The room grows still, the shadows rest. The velvet gathers me in. I did not speak into the air. I did not give the night a name. I only sat inside the chair and let the piano take the weight. The piano knows my silence well. It plays the things I do not tell. It takes the heavy hours away and folds them into amber light. answer, no need to explain. Only a chord, a little rain. The piano knows my silence well and says it softly for me. A glass still holding gold. The midnight moves without a word, slowly through the room. The piano knows my silence well. Just the piano, just the rain, just the glass. The velvet curtain hangs heavy and still. Deep navy breathing against the night. I hear the rain along the windowsill. Beyond the reach of amber light, a saxophone begins a quiet line and folds its breath into the rain. I let the midnight softly twine. To open up the pane. Rain behind the velvet curtain, falling on an empty street. Little in the dark is certain, where the shadows and the music meet. A quiet memory keeps on playing. In the corner of the room, rain behind the velvet curtain, softly entering the blue. I do not move the drape aside to watch the silver water pass. The outside world can keep its night. Its faded shapes against the glass. What the saxophone says is not a sentence, not a name. It is the shape of breath around a word that never came. Rain behind the velvet curtain, falling on an empty street. Little in the dark is certain, where the shadows and the music meet. Rain behind the velvet, the breathing of the horn. I did not have to see it to know the night was kind. Rain, velvet, amber light. The horn breathes softly. The room stays kind. The amber light begins to fade into a quiet, deeper blue. The window holds the midnight rain without a word, without a name. The room has learned to hold its breath. A shadow leans against the glass. I watch the deep blue midnight pass and let the music carry it. Rain on the window, blue in the dark. The saxophone barely breathes. No need for a word. There are no pages left to read, no folded lines to say what passed. Here in this navy room I need no ending written under glass. The table keeps its empty place, the second chair remains. Whatever words did not arrive are moving through the rain. For every thought you did not leave, the piano lays a low chord down. The window holds its silver rain, and softens every sound. It asks no ink, it asks no proof. It does not call the daylight back. A brushed note, low and soft enough, fills in the words I lack. No letter came, only the music stays. No promise left to keep or untie. I hold the amber glass while midnight plays, and let the gentle rhythm pass me by. No heavy silence fills the room, only a bass line, slow and deep. No letter came, only the music stays, where shadows learn to sleep. Unspoken things are often kept inside the wood beneath the light, where folded paper never reached. The piano answers quietly. I do not check the door tonight, I let the room remain. The emptiness, a gentle guest, sits softly with the rain. If words were meant to come, they would have found this room, but music came instead and held the quiet blue. No letter came, only the music stays. No promise left to keep or untie. I hold the amber glass while midnight plays, and let the gentle rhythm pass me by. No heavy silence fills the room, only a bass line, slow and deep. No letter came, only the music stays, and lets the missing sleep. No words, no paper, only rain, only the window, only the song. A quiet horn beneath the amber light. It never asks me why I came this way. It only breathes into the navy night and lets the heavy hours drift away. The piano leaves a distant chord. The brushes move like rain. Across the table, nothing asks for reasons or for names. To justify the empty chair, no need to name the rain. The horn leaves comfort in the air and carries silence past the pain. It does not answer, does not plead. It only stays nearby. The saxophone never asks me why. It simply lets me breathe. No questions, only breath, only the horn, only midnight. No need to know why. The midnight shadow stretches on the wood, across a folded page without a name. The quiet lines lie still as if they could sleep beneath the amber lantern flame. The piano waits where words begin to fade, and plays the pause my hand could never write. I leave the paper resting where it stayed, inside the blue and velvet of the night. No need to seal the paper in the dark. No stamp, no door, no reason it should go. A silver drop moves slowly down the glass and leaves the room more tender than before. I let the words I never learned to send dissolve into the navy air tonight. They do not need a place where they can end, only a chord to hold them in the light. This is the song I never sent, with no heavy sigh, no promise tied. It leans on brushes over snare and lingers in the velvet air, a quiet melody around my chair, a little light I never shared. This is the song I never sent, and it stays softly by my side. Some feelings do not need a page, they turn to chords instead of ink. I'd put the pen down by the glass and let the piano think what never reached another hand has found a room where it can breathe. The bass walks slowly through the rain, the window keeps the blue. If it never finds its way, let it remain with me. Not every song must leave the room, not every heart must speak. This is the song I never sent, with no heavy sigh, no promise tied. It leans on brushes over snare and fades beneath the lantern light. The folded lines become a song, the midnight holds them close. This is the song I never sent, and quietly lets me go. No stamp, no name, only piano, only rain. The song velvet chair across from me is turned a little toward the light, as if someone had left it there and stepped into the night. The piano gathers in the room, low notes where words had been. I do not ask who sat there once, I only let the silence in. The amber lantern marks the wood, the brushes move like rain. I leave the memory where it stood without calling a name. The navy shadows learn the shape of what the room once knew. The glass keeps holding half the light, the other half is blue. Someone once sat here inside the glow, sharing the silence midnight makes. Now only quiet shadows know the gentle space a leaving takes. No heavy sigh, no need to call, no answer to appear. Someone once sat here and left the quiet here. The upright bass walks through the room, slow circles on the floor. It turns the empty space to song and asks for nothing more. The velvet corners soften down, the rain keeps time outside. I let the chair remain this way, a place where night can hide. I will not move it closer, I will not turn away. Some absences are tender when the music lets them stay. Someone once sat here inside the glow, sharing the silence midnight makes. Now only quiet shadows know the gentle space a leaving takes. No heavy sigh, no need to call, just piano, rain and air. Someone once sat here and something still sits there. Someone once sat here, amber light, velvet chair, just the piano now and the quiet night. I do not form the letters with my breath, They softened in the shadows long ago. The navy curtains hold the quiet in, where amber lanterns gather low. No name is spoken to the room, no voice is asked to stay. The piano touches what remains and lets the evening wait. Your name became the room, not something I could say. It moved through velvet air and settled where the shadows stay. A steady brush across the snare, a low chord takes the weight. Your name became the room and softly learned to fade. Just amber on the table, just rain beyond the glass. The bass walks slowly underneath and lets the midnight pass. Your name became the room, just the amber light, just the steady bass and the quiet night. One small flame leans with the night, then returns to its amber light. On the table, a glass turns clear. What I miss is almost here. Not a storm, not even rain, just one breath against the pain. Every shadow softly sways, nothing leaves, it only stays. When the candle trembles, I do not ask why. sorrow passes by. No letter, no final line, only the waltz of borrowed light. 3 slow steps across the floor. 1 for now, 1 for before, 1 for the name I do not say. Turning once, then turning away. When the candle trembles, the room goes still. What I could not carry settles tonight. No answer, no goodbye, only a flame leaning into the night. A small flame, a slow room, a shadow yearning to stay. A quiet nod across the polished wood. The deepest hour finally arrives. 1 low note where the older shadow stood. I lift the amber glass and close my eyes. A gentle clink against the rim. It does not break the velvet room. The rain outside is growing dim. The piano brushes off the day. Last call is softly given to the night. No heavy words, no reasons to explain. We sit beneath the lantern's patient light and let the shadows loosen in the rain. The quiet makes the silence clear again. The upright bass walks cool and slow. The brushes barely touch the floor. The weight I carried starts to go and rests beside the wooden door. Last call is softly given to the night. No heavy words, no reasons to explain. The glass returns a little of the light. The shadows loosen softly in the rain. The quiet makes the silence clear again. A quiet toast to dawn. The final glass. The empty room. Let it pass. The clock leans into shadowed light. The amber lantern stays with me. I do not send a word into the night, but midnight knows what rests in me. The rain moves down the window glass. The heavier hours lose their name. The piano holds one lower chord for all the things I could not say. Midnight knows the part I never show, kept inside the velvet, low and slow. It never asks for reason or for name, only shares the stillness of the flame. Underneath the lantern's amber glow, midnight holds what I cannot show. No diary opens in the dark. No sigh is asked to leave a mark. The brushes move across the snare and leave a quiet answer there. Midnight knows the part I never show, kept inside the velvet, low and slow. It never asks for reason or for name, only keeps its vigil with the flame. Underneath the lantern's amber glow, midnight knows my heart and lets it go. Just the midnight, just the amber light, the piano, and the quiet night. the window catch their breath. The avenue forgets the need to run. A walking bass to fill the velvet depth. Long after all, the heavy hours are done. No need to hurry, the city rests, just the piano and the deep, slow night. I held the silence level in my glass and watched the navy shadows drift and pass. The room was calm, the heavy hours felt light, and I was almost okay tonight. One low chord lingered quietly in the air. A sudden memory found the empty chair. I did not ask it why it came to stay. I only let the velvet music play. Almost okay, close enough for tonight. The brushes on the snare, the lantern fading, midnight calm. Midnight calm. The velvet night is slowly wearing thin. I let a little peace come breathing in. The shadows settle down upon the floor, not asking for a memory anymore. Before the dawn, a quiet space, letting the long hours fade, just the peace and the piano. The amber lantern softens on the ward. The quiet hours have done what they could. I leave the empty glass upon the tray and watch the navy shadows slip away. The night has never told me what to do. It only kept the piano low and blue. It does not offer answers for the past, but brings a gentle clarity at last. The room lets me go without a word, keeping the heavy silence it has heard. The velvet curtain opens into gray and lets the midnight thoughts drift away. The night does not answer, it lets me go. I stand beside the table, breathing slow. The brushed snare says it's softly time to go. I do not look back at the second chair. I only leave a little quiet there. The room lets me go without a word, keeping the heavy silence it has heard. The velvet curtain opens into gray and lets the last of midnight drift away. The night does not answer, it lets me go. A quiet step, the wooden floor beyond the door, the fading piano. The amber lantern breathes its final glow. The navy room grows deeper, still and slow. I stand beside the table in the gray and watch the last of amber fade away. No need to ask the flame for one more song. The piano's echo loosens low and long. The empty chair rests softly in the shade. a quiet space before the lantern fades. The last light, the quiet wood, the resting room, the hush. Slowly turns to gray. The quiet room has nothing left to say. The amber lantern softens into light and gently closes what was left of night. Just the empty chair, the fading echo.